prayers. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada said that I shall never die. I shall remain in my books and you will utilize. So Srila Prabhupada said that he is always present in his books, and anyone who sincerely reads Srila Prabhupada's books gets direct association of Srila Prabhupada. And associating with a pure devotee is so very purifying, and it also fills us with a lot of realizations and insights to practice and to become perfect in Krishna consciousness. So we are reading Srila Prabhupada's books every day. So today we will continue to read from the book A Second Chance, the story of a near death experience by His Divine Grace Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada. I shall be sharing my screen so that you can all see as I'm reading. So please hear attentively. Towards the end of this session, after I complete reading, we shall have a interesting interactive quiz. Okay, so please hear attentively. Reading from A Second Chance, Chapter 7, Authorized Discrimination. Shukadev Goswami continued, being thus addressed by the messengers of Yamaraja, the servants of Vasudeva smiled and spoke the following words in voices as deep as the sound of rumbling clouds. If you are actually servants of Yamaraja, you must explain to us the meaning of religious principles and the symptoms of irreligion. What is the process of punishing others? Who are the actual candidates for punishment? Are all persons engaged in fruitive activities punishable, or only some of them? Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1, verses 37 to 39. What the representatives of Dharma should know. The Yamadutas protested to the Vishnudutas. You are so exalted that it is not very good for you to interfere with our business. The Yamadutas were surprised to see that the Vishnudutas, although exalted souls, were hindering the rule of Yamaraja. Similarly, the Vishnudutas were also surprised that the Yamadutas, although claiming to be servants of Yamaraja, the supreme judge of religious principles, were unaware of the principles of religion. Thus the Vishnudutas smiled, thinking, what is this nonsense they are speaking? If they are actually servants of Yamaraja, they should know that Ajamila is not a suitable candidate for them to carry off. The Vishnudutas began to speak in grave voices. You claim to be the representatives of Dharmaraja or Yamaraja, the superintendent of death and the maintainer of religion, and you accuse us of interfering in your business, which he has entrusted to you. Therefore, would you kindly explain what is dharma or religion and what is adharma or irreligion? If you are actually representatives of Yamaraja, then you can answer this question. This inquiry put by the Vishnudutas to the Yamadutas is most important. A servant must know the instructions of his master. The servants of Yamaraja claim to be carrying out his orders, and therefore the Vishnudutas very intelligently asked them to explain religious and irreligious principles. A Vaishnava knows these principles perfectly well because he is well acquainted with the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66. Give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Therefore, surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the actual principle of religion. Those who have surrendered to the demands of material nature instead of to Krishna are all impious, regardless of their material position. Unaware of the principles of religion, they do not surrender to Krishna, and therefore they are considered sinful rascals, the lowest of men, and fools bereft of all knowledge. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 15, Namam dushkruti no mudha prapadyante naradhamaha Mayayapahritajnana asuram bhavamashritāha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are the lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. The question posed by the Vishnudutas was very suitable. One who represents someone else must fully know that person's mission. The devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement must therefore be fully aware of the mission of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, they will be considered foolish. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Ye Krishna Tattvaveta Se Guru Haya. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 8, verse 128. One must know Krishna, then he can become a guru. Not just anyone can become a guru. Thus, the Vishnudutas challenged the Yamadutas. If you are truly representatives of Dharmaraja, then you must explain what is religion and what is irreligion. That should be the criterion for determining who is actually representative of religion. It is not that everyone should be accepted as religious or as a guru. Widespread ignorance has given rise to many persons calling themselves God, representing so much nonsense in the name of Dharma. When someone says, I am God, or I have become God by mystic yoga, one should challenge him. In America, a man claimed, I am God, everyone is God, and thus gathered disciples. One day he was suffering from a toothache, and I asked him, what kind of God are you that you are suffering so much from a toothache? Only a lunatic or a cheater claims I am God. Officers of law enforcement. One who has the power to punish others should not punish everyone. There are innumerable living entities, most of whom are in the spiritual world and are Nitya Mukta, everlastingly liberated. There is no question of judging these liberated living beings. Only a small fraction of the living entities, perhaps one fourth, are in the material world. And the major portion of the living entities in the material world, 8 million of the 8,400,000 forms of life, are lower than human beings. They are not punishable, for under the laws of material nature, they are automatically evolving. Human beings who are advanced in consciousness are responsible for their actions, but not all humans are punishable. Those engaged in advanced pious activities are beyond punishment. Only those who engage in sinful activities are punishable. Therefore, the Vishnudutas particularly inquired about the criteria Yamaraja uses to determine who is punishable and who is not. How is one to be judged? What is the basic principle of authority? These are the questions raised by the Vishnudutas. The Yamadutas felt that they were faultless because they were following the orders of Yamaraj, who himself is faultless. Just because a magistrate has to direct the punishment of those who transgress the law does not mean the magistrate is a criminal. He is a representative of the government. Similarly, although Yamaraja has jurisdiction over the regions of hell and deals with all sinful persons, he is a pure representative of Krishna and simply executes the order of his master. A police constable is supposed to know the law and whom to arrest for breaking the law. If he arrests anyone and everyone, then he himself is a criminal. He may not arrest the law abiding citizens. Similarly, the Yamadutas cannot take away just anyone and everyone to the court of Yamaraj. They can take only the non devotees to be punished for their sinful acts. Yamaraj has especially cautioned the Yamadutas not to approach Vaishnavas. However, because Ajamila had been very sinful, the Yamadutas could not understand why he should not be considered a criminal and be brought to Yamaraj for punishment. Devotees and demons. There are two classes of people in this material world: those who are servants of God, called Devas or Suras, and those who are servants of Maya or illusion, called Asuras. In the spiritual world, however, there is only one class, because the inhabitants are all servants of God. Therefore, the spiritual world is called absolute. There is no disagreement in the spiritual world, as the center is Krishna or God, and everyone there is engaged in his service out of love, not as a paid servant. A paid servant will serve in proportion to the money he receives, but in Vaikuntha, there is no question of being a paid servant. Everyone is liberated, and everyone is as opulent as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but everyone is still a servant. In the material world, people serve out of need, but in the spiritual world, everyone serves out of love. There is no need for anything because everything there is complete. The Brahma Samhita says that in the spiritual world, there are Kalpa Vriksha or desire trees from which one can get anything he desires. In the material world, service is forced upon everyone. If someone does not render service, he will starve. Even a king has to work. What to speak of the poor man? Under the direction of the Supreme Lord, the material energy makes everyone into a dancing dog. The master says, "Please dance." And the dog dances because he knows that unless he performs, he will starve. Whether in the material world or the spiritual world, everyone is a servant. But here, people are under the impression that they are masters. The head of the family thinks, "I am the master of my wife and children." But in fact, he is serving each and every member of his family. The state executive officer thinks, "I am the king," or "I am the president." But actually, he is the servant of the citizens. Servitude is his position, and unless he serves the citizens according to their expectations, he will be deposed or fail to win re election. In the material world, everyone is trying to become master of all he surveys, and thus there is competition on every level between self acclaimed gods between heads of state, even between friends and family members. In this illusory competition to the master, sorry, in this illusory competition to be master, everyone fails. Mahatma Gandhi was respected as the father of India, but after all, he was just a servant. And when one man didn't like his service, Gandhi was killed. Similarly, President Kennedy was a very popular president, but somebody saw some discrepancy in his service and he was also killed. No one is really the master here. Everyone is either a servant of Maya, illusion, or a servant of God. Everyone has to obey the government laws. Under the spell of illusion, however, the criminal thinks, I do not accept the government laws. Yet, when he is caught, he is forced to obey the government laws in the prison house. He has no choice. Similarly, we are all servants of God, but the demoniac class of men, asuras, do not care about God and God's laws. These rascals think that there is no God, or that everyone is God, or that they themselves are God. But such gods must also follow the laws of God in the form of birth, death, disease, and old age. Only persons who are totally illusioned refuse to serve God. Instead of voluntarily rendering service to God, they are the slaves of Maya, the illusory energy of God. A person who is haunted by ghosts speaks all kinds of nonsense. Similarly, when a living entity is haunted by Maya or engrossed by the illusory effects of the material nature, he also talks foolish nonsense. And the most foolish talk is to claim that he is God. Among the two classes of men, the divine or devas and the demoniac or asuras, there is an ongoing struggle. The asuras are always rebelling against God, and the devas are always surrendering to God. In the story of Prahlad Maharaj, we see that even among family members, there are devas and asuras. Prahlad Maharaj's father, Hiranyakashipu, was an asura, whereas Prahlad Maharaj was a deva. Naturally, a father is affectionate toward his child, but because Hiranyakashipu was a demon, he became the enemy of his son. That is the nature of demons. Of course, even a tiger has affection for her cubs. And so at first, Hiranyakashipu showed affection for Prahlad Maharaj, who was a very well mannered and attractive child at 5 years old. One day, Hiranyakashipu asked his son, my dear boy, what is the best thing you have learned in school? Tell me. Prahlad Maharaj replied, one should sacrifice everything to realize God. This human form of life is the best opportunity we have for making spiritual progress, and it must be utilized for realizing God. Hiranyakashipu angrily inquired from his son's teachers, why have you taught all this nonsense to my boy? They fearfully answered, sir, we did not teach these things to this boy. He is naturally inclined toward God. So what can we do? As soon as he gets the opportunity, he begins to teach God consciousness to the other boys in the class. In the absence of his teachers, Prahlad Maharaj would immediately stand up on the bench and address his friends. My dear boys, this life is not for enjoying sense gratification. It is for realizing God. Do not forget this. Similarly, we have taken up this preaching mission because people in general are interested only in immediate sense gratification, which is not good for them. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Verse 4, Lord Rishabhadeva says, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya aprunoti. Simply for sense gratification, people are committing so many sinful activities. They are just like madmen. A madman does not know what he is doing. Materialistic persons are so much engrossed in their pursuit of sense gratification that they have become maddened and commit all kinds of sins. Lord Rishabhadeva says that the materialistic way of life is very risky. For those who indulge in sense gratification, Krishna gives the facility, forcing them to take birth again in the material atmosphere. A monkey has very good facility for enjoying sex. In some ways, a monkey is renounced. He lives naked in the forest. He eats only fruit. But his nature is that he must have at least 3 dozen wives for sex enjoyment. So called renunciants who wear the cloth of a sadhu but secretly enjoy illicit sex with women are just like monkeys. This is demoniac. Demons or asuras do not believe in God and act according to their own whims. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 15, Krishna describes them as follows: Namam dushkrutino mudha prapadyante naradhamaha Mayaya pahrita asuram bhavamashritah. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Here, Krishna clearly states, Asuram bhavam ashritaha. Because the demons have taken shelter of atheistic philosophy, they are the lowest of mankind, despite their advancement of education, science, and politics. Someone might object, how can you call an atheistic gentleman with a university degree a demon? He is so educated and highly qualified. The verdict of the Shastra is that although he appears to be very learned, his actual knowledge has been stolen away by Maya on account of his being atheistic. Spiritual injunctions may not be very palatable, nonetheless, they are authoritative, and we have to preach the truth. We cannot play hide and seek with the problems of life. We must know our real position, and we must know what is religion and what is irreligion. Religion means action according to the orders of God, and irreligion means action that goes against the orders of God. Thus ends chapter 7 of the book A Second Chance, entitled Authorized Discrimination. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, now I think all of you have heard it very attentively. So, in this chapter, a very interesting point uh, based on the questions asked by the Vishnu Dutas to the Yamadutas. Srila Prabhupada talks about the difference between the Suras and the Asuras, the difference between the atheistic class of people and the godly people who are devotees. So, very interesting points Srila Prabhupada mentioned. Srila Prabhupada also quoted the example of Hiranyakashipu and his saintly son Prahlad Maharaj. So, in the same family, Srila Prabhupada said there could be a demon and a devotee. And Hiranyakashipu, as soon as he realized that his son is not listening to him, he is in fact a devotee of the Supreme Lord, he did not hesitate to even kill him. That is the way of the demons. Okay, so now I'm going to read out some questions for all of you. These will be multiple choice questions. I will read the question with 4 options. All you have to do is hear the questions attentively and type A, B, C, or D on the chat window. So this is like a kind of recalling or reinforcing what we have read just now. Okay, so let's begin. Question 1. Why did the Vishnu Dutas smile at the Yamadutas? Your options are A. They were amused by their appearance. B. They felt superior to them. C. They were surprised that they did not know religious principles, or D, they were mocking Yamaraja. So please type A, B, C, or D in the chat window and let me know what's the answer. Okay, so Thomas, Abhishek, Girish, Sakshi, Ashish, and Chetna Mataji. All of you have given the right answer. Yes, the answer is C. The Vishnudutas were smiling, not because they were trying to ridicule Yamaraj or his order carriers, but they were surprised that they did not know religious principles. So, according to the principles of religion, a devotee of the Lord is not to be punished by Yamadutas, but here the Yamadutas have come to take away Ajamila. So, therefore, Vishnudutas smiled. They were surprised. How come these Yamadutas do not know that Ajamila is a devotee? Okay, that's the answer. Let's go to the second question. What was the first question the Vishnudutas asked the Yamadutas? Okay, here are your options. A. Why are you here? B. Who ordered you? C. Why did Ajamila sin? Or D. What is dharma and adharma? So please type A, B, C, or D. Okay, this time we have more devotees answering. I request everyone to please attempt the quiz. Yes, all of you have given the right answer. The answer is D. The first question that Yamadutas were asked by the Vishnudutas is what is dharma and what is adharma? It's a very important question. Unless one knows what is dharma and what is adharma, such a person cannot take the position of punishing others. He cannot be a decision maker in the society. So, therefore, it's important for decision makers, for law enforcement agencies to be acquainted with what is dharma and what is adharma. And that was exactly the question asked by Vishnu Dutas. Okay, the next question, question 3. According to the Bhagavad Gita, what is real dharma? Your options are A. Performing sacrifices, B. Following social duties, C. Worshipping demigods, or D. Surrendering unto Lord Krishna. Yes. Again, the answer is D. All of you have given the right answer. According to Bhagavad Gita, the supreme instruction of Lord Krishna at the end of the Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So the highest dharma is to abandon all kinds of dharmas and simply surrender to Krishna. That is the highest dharma. Okay, let's go to the next question. Question 4. Who is considered impious according to this chapter? Your options are A. One born in a low family. B. One who does not surrender to Krishna. C. One who does not perform rituals. Or D. One who commits mistakes. So, who is considered impious? Okay, Abhishek, Thomas, Chetna Mataji, Sakshi Mataji. 4 people have given the answers. I'm waiting for others also to respond, please. Okay, Girish, yes. Yes, B is the right answer. One who does not surrender to Krishna is actually impious. He's called Dushkrutinaha. Prabhupada quoted this verse twice. Namam Dushkrutino Mudha Prapadyante Naradhamaha from the 7th chapter. So, one who is Dushkrutinaha, one who is impious, does not surrender to Krishna. Okay, the next question. Lord Chaitanya states that one can become a guru only if he, your options are A, is born in a Brahmana family, B, performs austerities, C, is elderly, or D, knows Krishna. Yes. D, all of you have given the right answer. D, one who knows Krishna. A Krishna Tattva Veta say Guru Haya. One should know who is Krishna. One should have a direct, loving relationship with Krishna. One should be self realized, a pure devotee, Mahabhagavata. Only such a person can become a guru when he is authorized by his spiritual master to become a guru. So, Amara Agnya, the order of the Supreme Lord has to come through the spiritual master. Then a person who is acquainted with the principles of Krishna consciousness and who is a pure devotee himself, a liberated soul, he can become a guru. That means there has to be qualification plus authorization. Both are very important. One must be qualified in the science of Krishna consciousness, and one must also be authorized by his predecessor, spiritual master. Only then someone can become a guru. Okay, with that, we come to the end of today's session. I hope you all enjoyed attending today's session. Associating with Srila Prabhupada's Vani is always enriching and enlightening. So please join us every day at 1:30 p.m. and we shall continue to read from this book, A Second Chance. We'll close the session. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, विश्व गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा.
Hare Krishna, Guru.